Thanks, Liesl. I'm so happy to be here with all of you guys. I'm very excited. I hope that you guys are ready to take action. You've got your pens and papers ready to craft your message and to start unpacking your brand voice. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to jump ahead and share my presentation. Can you all see it, Liesl? It's all good here. Okay, awesome.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, cool. It's just, okay, cool. So over the last 2 years as a consultant, I would attend a lot of networking events. And, and more recently with COVID, it's all been online. And, I'd ask people, so what do you do? So I'd often get two responses. The first response would be, well, it's very complicated. I do several things. I own several companies, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. The second response is people would just give me a title. Like they would say, well, I'm a digital marketer, or, I sell XYZ. But more importantly, when people would ask me what I do, I would sometimes go blank. And I would even think, well, what do I do? It was quite interesting. And then I said, just wait. I mean, I've been in marketing for as Liesl mentioned, for 15 years. I can do better than this. So I really started to think about, how I should start crafting my message. And instead of me giving people this blank look and nod, or me receiving that blank look and nod, to go from, less blank look and nod, more like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Tell me more. I want to hear more about what you do. I'm interested. I'm curious. And often we tack this message on, this is what I do, because this is what we think, we need to say, or this is what we think that we should be saying about what we do. But we do need to go to a deeper level of communication, and from talking about what we do in the same way as everyone else to talking about it in a way that suddenly people are paying attention, and they're like, wow, this person is saying and doing something different. So are you guys ready? Who feels like their messages need some reviving? Do you want to just put a Y in the chat, or an M that says maybe? So guys, I'm going to ask you to interact a lot. And okay, cool. Or even thumbs up. That's great. Thanks. Cool. I'm seeing that. And as we go forward, the reason why it matters is that people really do want to connect with us. I mean, people are craving authentic connection. I mean, I don't know about you, but all over social media, I see posts around authenticity and, being authentic. And people are really tired of the same marketing. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen marketing around, I'll help you build a 7-figure business, or come work with me and I'll get you more leads. So there's all this kind of standard messaging out there. And people just want people who are the real deal, who are speaking and communicating in real ways. But what happens, why do people talk like this? Why do people say these kind of standard messages? And I think it's sometimes because when we're in business or when we're professionals, we believe that we need to speak in a certain way and we need to communicate in a certain way. So sometimes we put ourselves in a box, and then our messaging sort of sounds like everyone else. And what people sometimes forget is that, or they forget to communicate when they're communicating about their business, is they forget to put themselves in their business. And they put marketing out there that just sounds like everybody else, and it says the same thing. And it really doesn't cut through the noise. And, as it says here in the slide, you are the secret sauce in your business. And we need to put you into the business and into your messaging and into how you come across, so that people start connecting with you. And it's the quickest way to stand out in the crowd, and it's the quickest way to kind of cut through all the noise in the internet. And one of the fears that I have, when working with my clients, is that people are afraid to fully express themselves. They feel like they need to be professional, they need to be serious, or they need to talk in a certain way. you know, and often as kids, we're told, hey, you speak too loud, or you're speaking too soft, or like you're a bit too bubbly, you need to just tone it down. So we kind of get these messages in our childhood that tells us like, that's not the way adults kind of conduct themselves. And, you know, and this is how we communicate our marketing messages, and that's why it sometimes falls flat. And what we want to do is speak about it in a way that's really authentic and aligned, that it matters to you, to your business, and how you feel about things, but also to your audience that's looking for this authentic communication, and they're looking for you to speak to them in a real way. Cool. So let's actually get to the framework. So today, this is kind of the framework that we're going to go through. And if you looked at your workbook, you would have seen kind of that it's broken down like this. And we're going to go through this framework piece by piece. So we're going to go through what you offer, who you serve, how you're different. But then we're going to look at the magic of the intersections. And this is where the magic happens, in the tribe and the value and the niche. And then we're going to end off by really rounding it off with really what is your brand, and how do you put your brand out there, and what makes a brand a brand. So I can't see any of the comments or feedback. So if there are questions or things that you want to chat, or yeah, just let me know. Okay.
I'm watching. I'm keeping an eye on that for you, Tilo. But yes, okay. Please do. If you have a question, don't be shy. Please jump in. Be bubbly.
Yeah. Yes, don't be serious. This is not a serious session. So please, like, let yourself loose here if you can. It's a safe space. So today I'm going to use my business as an example, just because it's the easiest. And then, for you to get a sense of how we're going to build this message. And then, as I go through it, the first few slides might be quite standard. But as I said, as we move on through this workbook, you'll see how the magic comes alive. So if you just think about the sun, before we get into messaging and why it's important, if we think about the sun is amazing. It shines on everyone. It's warm. We like it. It's awesome. But if we just take a few rays of that sun and we focus it, we can actually start a fire. And you'll see this picture, which looks a bit blurred, but it's basically a magnifying glass sort of starting a fire. And this is what we want to do with the message. We want to stop being like the sun that's just nice and pleasant to everybody, but we really want to focus our message so that we start a fire in our ideal tribe, in the people that we want to serve. So let's start off with what you offer. So as I said, that we're going to work through each piece, and each piece by itself is quite standard. But when we start putting it together and we start exploring sort of when we start exploring the intersections, that's when the magic comes alive. So we're going to start with what you offer, which is the top of the blueprint. And why wouldn't we start with what you offer? It is the meat and potatoes of what you do. It's the bricks and mortar. It's what you're obsessed about. But there is a big danger in focusing only on what you do. And I would have asked you guys to tell me that. But I think I'm not going to make you guess. I'm just going to tell you. And the danger in only focusing on what you offer is that you can become quite one-dimensional in your message. And if you have a profitable niche if there is a profitable niche that you've identified for your business, there's probably a lot of people playing in that niche, and you're not going to cut through the noise, as we said. And there's nothing that's going to separate you or distinguish you. For example, before I show you my example, I'm actually going to just talk to you about the difference between a commodity and a value market. So we don't want to compete in a commodity market. We obviously want to compete in a value market. And what happens with our offerings and businesses and in a commodity market is when we start competing on price and features. We start saying, you should work with me because my prices is better than everyone else. I actually had a client this morning before the session, and that's what she told me but I offer the best prices. And then And then we had to go through this whole discussion why offering the best price is just not a good plan as a business. It's not a sustainable business, and it shouldn't be a part of your point of difference or why people should want to work with you. The other mistake that people also make is they think, well, I've got a better feature than everybody else. My thing, my platform, my business has a special widget or a special program. I mean, I'm working with a coach who said to me, I have a special scale that can analyze the full body thing. And I had to tell her, look, I mean, anybody of your competitors can go and buy that scale. So, it's that feature. And from a tech point of view, it's maybe a specific, type of new tech that's the latest tech that's on the market. But the reality is, in a year, someone else can come and copy that exact same feature and put it on their platform, in their business. So it's also not a sustainable way to differentiate yourself in the market. And really, the only way to differentiate yourself is and the way you want to start to compete is actually on how you're different, on who you are, on your experiences, on your background, even on your methodology and frameworks and your values, because people want to work with you because of the experience they have of working with you. They want to experience you. You have something unique to bring to the table that your competitors don't have. And I'll tell you a really nice story about this just now. But that's what we really want to explore in this session, like what makes you different, what makes your business different. And, I know that we may talk about service-based businesses a lot, but like I used to work on, most of my marketing was in product-based businesses. So I used to say work on OMO, and I could say I sell washing powder. Basically, I was marketing on OMO, I sell washing powder. But that's not what we said. And I'll tell you now what we said. But even on a product level, you do need to add that element of personality and tone and voice and bring a unique experience to the foreground. And that's what makes people want to work with you. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah. So let's just start here. And if you want to just look at your workbooks as well, I'll tell you what page it's on. So let's use my business as an example. So if I had to just tell people what I offer, I would say something like, I help businesses to grow. Imagine if I came up to you and you said to me, what do you do? And I said, well, I help businesses to grow. How would that sound? Not very good. But anyway, I want you guys to start here, just, as a base, as we start building up this message, to quickly jot down, what do you actually do for people? What do you offer? What do you sell? Is that okay?
Yes, just a reminder to everybody, if you haven't received a reminder email with the link to the document, I've just shared it again. You can choose to open the Word or the PDF version.
Cool. And it's on page 3. Okay, awesome.
So Tilo, will you give about a minute?
Sure. I'm going to get you guys to start sharing once we get to our niche. So I hope you're psyching yourselves up from now. Remember, this is like a call with like how many people? 20. So it's a great opportunity for you to get your message out and start practicing it with the community here.
It's about 26.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, 26
cool.
people. So just start psyching yourself up to start sharing. Okay, cool. Can I move on? If you guys had to think a lot longer about that, I would start to get a bit worried. So, okay, cool. So who you serve. So the next circle is who you serve. And as I said, the magic is not really in these circles. The magic is in the intersections, which we're going to get to. But if I had to just tell you who I serve, for example, I would say I serve I help service-based entrepreneurs. Isn't very interesting if I had to come and tell you that I help service-based entrepreneurs? Not really. I'm not sure that you are crystal clear on what I do and who I do it for. And so this is where we get into the first intersection, and this first intersection is niche. And I'm sure it's a word you guys have heard quite often. And basically, I just want to talk to you about a definition of niche. So the definition of niche is a combination of who you serve and what you offer. And people often kind of say your niche and ideal clients, and they say it in sort of the same breath, but it is a bit different. So your niche is your specialization. It's what you do and who you do it for. And you can't have a profitable business without a niche. So niches range from broad to specific, and it's easier to start specific and broaden out once you achieve success. And it's this concept of being a big fish in a small pond initially to establish yourself, create a name, create some credibility. And then once you have established your, a sense of credibility in that space, you can then broaden your niche. And often people are terrified to choose a niche. I mean, in my clients, they are terrified. They're like, oh no, what about this? And, but I also work with these people, and I also work with these people, and I also work with these people. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. But just to start off with, I'm not saying don't stop working with all of those people, but from a communication and a marketing point of view, you want to maybe start a bit specific. So just checking where I am. Yeah, so in terms of a niche, if I had to put together my niche, what I offer and who I serve, as I said, there's a broad statement, like I help service-based entrepreneurs, but I help service-based entrepreneurs to grow their business. But as you can see, it's very like, yeah, okay, well, I'm still not really clear on what you do. And you see that often, and I see the messaging often, like I help women lose weight, or I help entrepreneurs get in a state of flow. So you see kind of these broad niche messages everywhere. And this is an example, if I had to give you a more specific niche message, which is a bit more tangible, it's a bit more clear. So I help coaches and consultants to differentiate online and attract more clients. So that would be an example of a more specific niche statement. It's much better than where I started with, which is I help businesses to grow. And so it's a much better statement than just saying what you offer, but there is still like something missing. It still doesn't have a lot of personality or spice. So now I'm going to take us to our second exercise, which is again on page 3 of your workbook, if you want to refer to it. And first, I want you guys to just jot down who you serve.
Tilo, there's been an interesting comment in the chat from Shireen, America. She says, I think it's hard to define your niche without trying with various audiences when you're starting out. Working with different people brings clarity. The reason I'm jumping in here is because of this exercise. So I don't know if you quickly want to touch a little bit on that just before we get into the activity.
Yes, no, so sometimes when you start, it is difficult to be specific. But, when I work with people that are starting, we first look at stuff like we go through their story, we look at their strengths and weaknesses, and we look at who do they enjoy working with? Who do they really, what are the different groups of people they like working with, And then, I get them to sort of choose one group, maybe 2 if they're a bit confused, but one group to just do some research in and understand in that group, which group can they use their skills, strength, and build their offering, and which group do they like to work with? And then you build sort of your brand in that kind of intersection of where are my skills, strengths, experience in, and who do I actually like to work with? And this is where you will start marketing and building up your marketing messages with these people. If you feel that there's 2 groups, sometimes we research both groups and then we have a look at them. But again, you you need to, in order to increase your reach and conversion, you need to choose a group. It doesn't mean that if people outside of that group come and want to work with you, you're going to turn them away. Of course not. You're going to explore that. And the way to choose a niche is actually to understand who you are, your strengths, your experiences. Who do you like to work with? I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think Shireen's point is interesting to explore just a little bit. I hope we've got the time, because what she's referring to the audiences, and I think the important thing is to actually test the message with the audiences that you think you're targeting and get that feedback. And then you know, sharpen your pencil on that basis. I don't know if Shireen wants to add to that.
No, I think it's exactly what you're saying. I totally agree with everything, but it's just, I know when I started 18 months ago, it was really hard because I had I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't necessarily know what the right audience was. And my messaging wasn't niche. It wasn't, and through trial and error, it certainly helped define that niche a bit easier. But yeah, just a sort of a comment in the beginning. And I'm still refining it all the time, because as I evolve, right, my audience sort of also changes as I grow. Yeah,
and the two thing is to know yourself really well, and then to know your audience really, really well. Because sometimes we think that this is what people need help with. And maybe it's the thing they do need help with, but they don't actually know it. And they don't articulate it like that. They don't say it like that. So we need to meet them where they're at. We need to find their pain points, their language, how they're experiencing the problem, and then build our messaging around them and not us.
Yes.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. I hope you guys are otherwise writing down who you serve. And if you'll see, if you like Shireen, brought up, if you're not 100% clear of who you serve because your business may be slightly newer than someone who's more established, then I've just helped you with some questions to write down all the groups of people you work with and which group connects most with the products and services you offer, or which group do you have the largest clients or customer base in already. And then thereafter to put together your niche statement. And as you said, you basically say, I help whoever I serve to do whatever I offer.
If you're more than welcome to start sharing in the chat some of your responses to those questions. And if you don't have access to the workbooks we have shared, that is fine. You can make notes on paper you have handy. I will make sure that we email the workbook to everybody in this session as well.
Yes, Liesl brings up a brilliant point. It's an awesome point to start sharing your niche statement. There are 26 people on this call, and there is someone looking for what you have. They say that business is just meeting the need of someone who's already looking, who has a problem and is already looking for you.
There's already some sharing happening. So Shireen, who is just on the stage, says, I help mid-level professional women. Alistair says, I help businesses simplify AI to create new capabilities and increase business performance. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, wonderful. Great start. So we're gonna start adding some nice juice and meat to that as we go on. So I'm gonna move on in the interest of time as well. Okay, cool. So the next part is where we start getting interesting. So the next question or the next piece of our circle is how you're different. And this is an interesting one because, because I work a lot with coaches, consultants, teachers, people like that, sometimes they tell me they've got 3 degrees, they studied at this fancy university, they have 4 qualifications, they worked at 5 companies. And, the problem with that is that's all amazing, but, what I do with that, it's a rabbit hole. I mean, someone else can have 7 qualifications and 3 years experience. It's just, it's not a great point of difference, and it's sort of, as you say, a rabbit hole. And I'm going to talk you through 4 areas of how you can be different. The most common one is your story. Then we're going to talk about your values, your personality, and your methodology. And then generally what we do is we look at 1 or 2 areas to overlap to bring your difference. And if I just go back to the slide, so you'll see we're going to also start talking about the intersection. So we're going to talk about how you're different with regards to what you offer, which is your value proposition, and then how you're different with regard to who you serve, and that is your tribe. So if we start with story, so story is the most common one. It's the one you would see on, when people talk about marketing and marketing messages, is to share your story. And there's this wonderful example that I read on about a personal trainer who didn't know how she was different. I mean, as you know, there are, many personal trainers in the industry. And then one day, one of her clients asked her, well, why did you become a personal trainer? So she was originally from Romania, and she told this client, how she grew up in Romania and they were dirt poor, and she had 3 sisters and they had 1 pair of shoes to share between 3 sisters. And after school each day, she would borrow this pair of shoes and she would go to the gym. And at that time in Romania, Nadia Comaneci was like a big thing, and all the Romanian girls wanted to become a gymnast like her because they felt that this was their ticket to success. So every day after school, she would borrow those shoes and she would go to the gym. And when she was at the gym, she would feel like she could fly. She felt like anything was possible, that her dreams were possible. And in those moments, she was not this poor girl from Romania. She had the possibility to do everything and anything. So her client was so moved and was so moved by the story, she encouraged her to share it. And she said, like, what? And so she started to sort of hone her message and kind of craft it into what she really did was to help people find that moment of possibility in their day, that no matter how busy or how stressed they were, that moment that they could fly, to help them reconnect with themselves amidst everything that was going on. And that became the core and the essence of why she did what she did. And so she started telling people this story. And, she says in this, this excerpt that I read, she says how the next week she got 3 clients. She got 3 additional clients just when she started sharing the story. And then she started being able to charge people more. So she started to be able to charge people $130 per hour versus $70 per hour just by telling them the story. Because as soon as she shared the story, people realized why she cared. And why it mattered for her. And this, and for her, it just wasn't about getting fit, that she had a powerful story that went beyond, and she did it for them. And, because this is what she wanted to make them feel like. She wanted them to experience this possibility. So it changed everything for her when she thought she had nothing that separated her or made her different. So this is the power of a story to actually, and as you said, add value to your brand and connect you to people. And as I mentioned, stories are quite commonly used method to create differentiation. Another piece that you could use to create differentiation is your values. And your values are things that could really help you stand out in an industry. So I use the example of Zappos here, which, they sell shoes and accessories and handbags and all of that in the US. But they really stand out in the industry. They're not another shoe shop or another, shop that sells accessories. They really stand out because of their culture, because of the way they conduct their business. And values are basically your company culture, and kind of that unique identity that you and the people that work for you create and deliver to your customers or to your clients. And you'll see Zappos here, their values are create fun and a little weirdness, be passionate and determined, be humble. So they didn't write values like service or excellence or quality, so it's not words, it's more like a statement about how we operate and how we conduct ourselves. So, and I have another example here, which I'm sure you guys, it's quite common and you've heard. So, Steve Jobs, one of his values was to put a dent in the universe, and this is how he operated his life. And I mean, even the tagline of Apple was now the tagline of Apple actually just escapes my mind. Think differently. Think different. Sorry, but I mean, it even extended to the brand he created and the tagline. And I mean, Apple is quite synonymous with Steve Jobs. And even though Apple is a huge company with 1 million employees, really it embodies some of his spirit. And this is what we want to put in your business: your spirit, your energy, your beliefs. And another way, the third way that we're going to look at how you're different is your personality. So I have a client. This is not her, but she's just as lovely. So I have a client, and she was raised in a very conservative, traditional home with very traditional gender roles. And she was often told as a girl, please do not embarrass the family, conduct yourself properly. And, we really, I'm working with her to really help her to articulate kind of her brand and who she is, and to attract her ideal clients and stand out among the many leadership coaches there are in the market at the moment. And when we kind of dug into who she is, her story, and all of that, I just want to, say that she's, so, we found out that she's actually, even though she comes out as quite like polite and professional and, I don't want to say traditional, but maybe even conservative, she's actually quite feisty. She pushes the boundaries in every other areas of her life. I mean, she goes as, she's done skydiving. She's done, she's quite adventurous. She's done, quite different things. And when we delved into it, we found out that she was fierce and she was hardcore, and she had this brutal honesty, and she was really focused on delivering the impossible. And the people we found that she connected most with because of the spirit was actually visionary leaders who wanted to make a drastic change in their team's performance through culture and innovation. And then, once we started unpacking who she was and wanting to express and bringing more of those elements of who she is into her brand, it even sort of helped her to niche and to choose her initial niche of leaders, because now she was like a senior HR consultant. She was very successful in her career, and she's been serving many different people, and from HR managers to MDs. But now we've gotten really specific on who she wants to serve, even by just unpacking really who she is and taking off that kind of like, who this is who I should be in this industry, and this is how I need to present myself. So the fourth area in terms of how you can be different is your methodology. So here I'm just using this example of an environmental consultancy that drives difference through their core framework or methodology. And they're really about transforming finite natural resources with infinite human potential, where most environmentalists are focused on scarcity of the world and environment, whereas this company's message is about bringing human ingenuity to the problems of the world and transforming them and making the world better through infinite human potential. So they focus on, infinite versus scarcity. And he's crafted a 4-part framework around human capital, natural capital, built environment, social capital, and how to bring about environmental and social change using his framework and methodology. And the reason why methodology is also important, because not everybody wants to not everybody's an extrovert. Not everybody wants to put their personality really out there, and that's okay. I mean, you don't have to do it as a point of difference. So there are other ways. But I think the point of showing you all of these 4 things is to start really pushing to the next level of depth below what most people talk or think about, and really to mine and bring up the gems of who you are, your experiences, your values, and even your methodology and your framework. Cool. So now is everyone keen for the next exercise on how you are different? So if you refer to your workbook on page 4 and 5, you'll see that I've put together the 4 parts of why you're different. So your story, your value, your personality, your methodology. So if you just want to sort of jot down, a few points. I know we don't have much time now, so we're not going to be able to really delve into this, but you may want to just put down first thoughts, maybe even just in 2 buckets of where you think your point of difference lies, and what you could use to sort of lift your messaging out from the crowd.
While people are jotting down some key points, some of the chats that's going on from Benjamin, as an example, is that, we just get back to that point, I lost it here. So Benjamin's point is with regarding to what you offer. What do you say when you offer multiple or multidisciplinary solutions to different types of clients? And Lloyd's responded saying that he can really relate to that, and that he believes it's necessary to uncover what the golden threads are that link and connect all the parts of what we offer. So those are some of the comments going around. And Benjamin, I actually like it when you then said that could be problematic to find that golden thread. And you then actually told us what you do. I pull rabbits out of hats and solve problems. So nice chatting going on here. We will come back to some of these questions in more detail in the Q&A. I think, yes, if we can then move on to the next slide.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I love that. I'll pull rabbits out that. And it's exactly what Lois said. I worked on Sunlight, and Sunlight, as you know, has many different, didn't work. Yeah, I worked on the team with Sunlight, but they have many different products. They have, bar soap, dishwashing liquid, washing powder, but we had what we call the mother brand strategy, where, you have that kind of common set of values and that common problem that, your products and services offer. And so you look at your portfolio as a whole, like that. Cool, so I'm going to move on. So we come to the first intersection, and as I keep saying, the magic is in the intersections, and not in the core pieces themselves. And the first intersection is between what you offer and how you're different. And this is value. So value is your competitive advantage, or why your customers or clients choose you over everyone else who does what you do. It is your promise, your unique way of doing, serving your tribe, or achieving an outcome that no one else can. So, why would my clients choose me over everyone else? And a lot of the times people actually really struggle with this question, like, why me? So what? Why should you care? Why choose me over everyone else? But it is your promise, your unique way of doing things. And it is about you being able to achieve an outcome that no one else can. So I just want to use my business as an example, just to show you how to now add the layer of, or to how to put together your value offering. So your value, how you're different, what you offer. So then I would say I grow businesses through building them into brands that cut through the noise online and attract a more predictable flow of clients. So, the way that I'm different, obviously, is that, or the way that I see that I'm different is that I'm not just going to give you how to do leads on LinkedIn, how to get leads on social media, or how to network. But it's really to include as well how to really cut through the noise, how to build messaging and storytelling into your communication so that you can connect with your clients. Because a lot of people just tell you how to get leads or how to, how to approach networking and all of that. But the way I found people are really struggling in what are the messages that I need to say? What are the type of posts I need to say? How do I write a blog? And how do I structure it? And how do I get people to connect with who I am? So that's, that would be an example of a value proposition and what you're bringing that maybe you're seeing everyone else in the market is doing X, Y, Z, but I'm also doing this. I think 2 weeks back, on the TEDA platform, when we on the pilots on democratizing entrepreneurship, Luciana explained it even well, like their value proposition and how YouTube did this and Coursera did this, but how they were looking at also doing XYZ. Hope that's clear. So if you want to refer to your workbook and look at what you offer, and then now think about how you're different. And how you're different, again, could be your methodology, it could be your personality, it could be your values, and which elements you're going to put of how you're different with what you offer. I mean, I have a story, but I don't want to interrupt you guys of how someone else did it as well. Cool. Does anybody want to share? Are you guys ready to share? Do you want to share how you're different? Maybe put your business name so people can see the name of your business and what is your value? What are you? How are you different? Or what is your value? Not how you're different.
You're more than welcome to jump on the stage. Just don't hurt yourself or post the feedback in the chat again.
Again, guys, this is a great community to share what you do with. I'm sure there are many people that would love to hear from you and love to hear what you do. Cool. In the meantime, should I move on, Liesl?
I think so, yes, please. Oh, we've got
cool.
Tanya, who just came in. Skills connection, navigate skills possibilities, let me guide you. So I think that tells us a story about what Tanya does, and here's from Alistair, Synapse Squared. Is Alistair's business. I help simplify complex problems and amplify human capability using abstract thinking to increase business performance using AI.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing again.
Thanks. Awesome, guys. Cool. So the final part that's what's missing is actually your tribe. So tribe and personality. So the tribe is the intersection of who you serve and how you're different. So your tribe is the kind of people you attract. It's impacted by the look, feel, tone, language, and spirit of what you do. As Simon Sinek says, your job is not to attract everyone who needs what you do. It's to attract those who believe what you believe. I hope you got that. I'm going to say it again. It's not your job to attract everyone who needs what you do. It's to attract those who believe what you believe. It's those people you're going to resonate with, And, when you stop focusing on everyone who needs what you do and you laser focus, remember in the beginning, the sun and the magnifying glass starting that fire. So when you stop focusing on everyone who needs what you do, and you laser focus in on your ideal clients and those who you want to serve, these are the people that you actually resonate with, the people you enjoy working with, the people who enjoy working with you, the people you have fun with, the people who are willing to pay the money and would appreciate your services. This is your tribe. And, you know, this happens when you start to add and you start attracting your tribe and your people, when you start adding this whole level of tone and voice and personality, and that we're going to actually deep dive a little bit more into just now. Cool. So exercise time. Everybody ready? Page. Let's look at your workbook. I'm sorry, my slides are not moving for some reason. Okay, so refer to your workbook and jot down your core beliefs. So it's point 6 on your workbook, page 6. Using the difference exercise above, jot down your core beliefs and values and the type of ideal client that will align to your beliefs, your values, your point of view on the world. Is that okay?
I think while people do that activity, question number 6 in the workbook, Shireen's saying that she's confident in her brand and tribe, but she struggles to find her tribe. I don't think that we're going to talk into much detail about finding your tribe in this session, but you may want to respond to that briefly. And then we can also share at the end of the workshop what the next steps will be from this workshop. Thanks, Tilo.
Okay, cool. So it's interesting that if you've chosen your tribe, you obviously know people in that tribe, and you hopefully have done some research and chatted to them about what you do and why it would be interesting. So, you know, already with those few, even if you know 2 or 3 people in that tribe, to understand where do they hang out online, offline, where could you reach them? Is it, you know, are there specific groups that they join? Do they have any specific interests or hobbies? I'm not sure if that helps. Maybe at the end you could just come on and tell me a bit more, and I can be a bit more specific in my feedback. But you should be working with people in your tribe in order to know that that's your tribe. So you should be able to find more of them like that. Cool. So I'm going to move on. So, sorry, I'm just orientating myself. Okay, cool. So now we're going to put everything together. And I'm going to share with you what I say, or what I'm going to say, because I used to also say something different. When I meet people and they ask me what I do, so I will say I help entrepreneurs to be the hero to their tribe. I help entrepreneurs to be the hero to their tribe. So when I tell you this, what is the first question do you think people will ask? When I say I'm at an event, even an online event, and I say I help entrepreneurs be the hero to their tribe. First question people are gonna actually say is, okay, how? Like, I don't, you know, tell me more. I don't know how. And this is great because instead of loading them with, I help service-based entrepreneurs to grow their business through marketing, if I tell them that, that's just going to leave them flat. And, you know, what happens is our brain is like this labeling machine. When I tell somebody I help businesses to grow through marketing, immediately their brain sort of spits out a label, puts it on me, puts me on a box, and puts me on a shelf. And maybe they will go back and open this box and think about me at some point, but most likely they won't, because I've sort of labeled myself and I've labeled and prejudged myself. So they have labeled and categorized me and put me somewhere. So what you want to do is you want to spark their curiosity. You want them to, you want them to actually not be so sure exactly what you mean. You want to not give it away. You want to maybe flirt with them a little bit in a safe, appropriate way, of course. But, you know, with your message, you want to build intrigue and mystique and curiosity. Also, when you look at this message, so if I say I help entrepreneurs be the hero to their tribe, it doesn't appeal to everyone, and I don't want it to, and it shouldn't. You know, I want to work with people who really want to make a difference, who want to step forward as the best versions of themselves, to be bolder and stronger and stand for something more. You know, people who know they have value to add and want to really step out from behind their logo and use their gifts. You know, people who want to make an impact and be the hero to their tribe. So this is who I want to serve, people who do that. So of course, as I said, if you would tell somebody this statement, they're going to ask you, okay, well, how? And then obviously you need to have prepared how you do this. And so I would say something like, I help entrepreneurs to clarify, package, and communicate their message boldly, authentically, and vibrantly, particularly in the online space, in order to cut through the noise, attract, and help their tribe. This is how, this is how you become, a hero to your tribe. So I do this through branding, messaging, and storytelling that's authentic to them. So what happens when they ask you how you do that? They're asking for more info. They're leaning in. They're curious about what I do, rather than them putting a label on me and putting me in a box. You know, putting a label on me, putting me in a box and be like, oh, okay, that's what you do. Kind of somebody who's pretty like not that interested. And this is really the big difference between pull and push messaging. I'm not sure if you guys understand this from a sales or marketing point of view, but there is two types of messaging. And a lot of what we do and what we say when people ask us what we do is sort of push messaging, because we're pushing it on them. They ask us what we do and we tell them, this is what I do. And the other approach is pull messaging, when you kind of attract them and they ask you questions and you sort of draw them in about what you do, and then they answer you. And this is a really different form of messaging that it's a lot more interesting, because it engages curiosity, real connection, and it defies people's labels and categorization, and they don't put you in a box. Plus, it's a lot more fun to tell people that you help people to be a hero to their tribe, rather than say, well, I help businesses to grow through marketing. Cool. So everybody ready to put together their message? So if you look at your workbook, it is page 6.7, where you can start to pull together your messaging. And when you pull it all together, you know, as you see, you know, the metaphor was used here of a hero to a tribe. You know, it's nice to sort of invoke people's curiosity to really, you know, pull your message up and almost, you know, be a metaphor. You know, I said to Liesl the other day, I also say that I help people to distill, package, and share their magic. You know, it's kind of a metaphor. You could see someone's magic being distilled and packaged, put in a bottle, and being shared to the world. So when you're starting to think about how to put your message together, think of, there doesn't have to be, it's not the end of the world, and there isn't, as long as your message is a little bit provocative and kind of can get people to ask you more questions, rather than, you know, be push messaging that sort of shuts them down.
You know, I have a question. Can one, instead of using a metaphor, maybe this is also what you mean by that, is come up with a little story. It could be a story in one sentence even. Do you think that will work?
Brilliant. I love it. Yes. As long as it's short. I mean, you don't want to stand there for 3 minutes, because you want to have something that's punchy and one-liner that gets to people say, oh, that's interesting. You know, remember, we want to go from, okay, well, you do marketing for businesses too. Oh, wow, that's interesting. You know, I want to hear a bit more. Tell me about what you do. So story in one sentence is amazing. I'd love to hear it, Liesl. Are you going to tell it? Are you going to share it? Are you going to share your story?
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
quick. Giving you 30 seconds.
We've got Gwen here. I operate in a well, we know Gwen, everybody works with a community in her area, and very much focused on subsistence farming. So she talks about enabling the enablers. That is her one-liner.
Enable the enablers.
Enabling the enablers. Please share if you like. We can jump on the stage or in the chat.
Yes, please share. That's a great one. When the thing, like, say, when I say I want to be a hero, I want to help entrepreneurs be the hero to their tribe, or I help entrepreneurs to distill, package, and share their magic. It's quite a visual thing. So enabling the enablers, is an awesome start in terms of being punchy and also just evoking that curiosity. So again, obviously don't be hard on yourself. Try your messaging out. So remember, I'm going to talk to you at the end about.
Can I come in here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Okay, great. Very briefly, which Liesl knows well, I work on overcoming the barriers to market that our smallholders and community groups hit. And that typically is record keeping, it is food safety disciplines, it is labor disciplines and everything else. And we do not have the support locally to do that. Now, traceability, which is my safe haven, if you like, underpins all of that. The reason why I selected enablers is because we talk a lot about empowerment, and we will empower the people. We have not enabled the people to play in the current sort of discipline. So that's just simply where it comes from. I don't use it, or haven't really used it as a slogan. I am having to go online, which is sort of very much part of it. I have a team of competent associates out there who will take the lead in their own communities. And I do work with government as well, which is easier said than done at present because we keep on changing the plans. So the challenge that these guys face is a poor continuity and everything else. But the critical thing is that the mood changes as soon as a white woman walks into a community hall, if you like, if we're in one of the rural communities.
I think, sorry, Gwen, I think just for the sake of time,
That's it.
Is that it? Okay, yeah. So yes, subsistence farming with very underprivileged communities in the McGregor area and beyond that as well. So I can see you, Gwen, you create magic for subsistence farming. That is quite a nice.
I have the potential.
Yes,
I do not yet create magic.
Cool.
That's why we're here, and that's where I need to roll out. Ciao.
Excellent. Thanks, Gwen. Thanks for sharing. Thanks, Tilo. We've got 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. So but a great start, and definitely to add a visual element, like so people can visualize, what it is you do, and abundance. So that there was lots of things to unpack in there. I'm so sorry we won't be able to get to it now. And I really do want to share this brand slides because it's going to be quite helpful as well. So the final intersection is the brand, and people often don't know what a brand is when you ask them what is a brand. So your brand is your niche, value, and tribe, and the magic. So it is the invisible layer of meaning around your business created through clear and consistent use of language, symbols, and experiences that create trust and convey distinction. So brands separate your business from other similar businesses in the hearts and minds of your audience and allow you to charge more for your products and services than unbranded offers from unbranded companies. And the interesting thing about brand is that it's not about being cheaper, faster, or even better. And sometimes it's scary because when we're a business in an industry, sometimes we think, oh my word, I need to be the best at this. Like, doubt, insecurity, fear, like, how can I be the best at this? And we sort of ask ourselves these questions. But actually, the focus of brand is different. So the brand, in building a brand, it is how you are different. And it is really, in order to do that, it is sort of how you can be more meaningful, how you can be different in a way that's valuable and meaningful to your audience. So remember when we talked about difference actually relates to being more you, turning up the dial on your self-expression. And sometimes when you have a team, it's about understanding what that team expression is. And when we talk about company culture and hiring people, I worked for AB InBev, and they had a very specific company culture that they hired for. And it is an expression of that culture, so it is about turning up the dial on self-expression and sharing your story, being more authentic, daring to communicate at a level that it may even scare you, dare to turn people off so you can turn the right people on. And people don't want to see all this blue. They want to see your magic. They want to see that, if you look at this picture, the orange and the blue. And brand, the interesting thing about brand is that it's both an art and a science. It's both left brain and right brain. It's the left brain, which is analytical, measured, pragmatic, and it's a mix of the right brain, which is creative and intuitive. So it is both. It's the practical. It's who you serve, what you do for them, why your offer is uniquely valuable. But it's also the right brain. We've got to sprinkle the magic, the colors, the creativity, the tone, the voice, the personality, and make all of this come alive. And it's that metaphor of Pinocchio, where he was sort of this wood and sticks and stones and puppets. And then he came really alive when, the breath of life sort of breathed on him. And the brand is kind of what brings your business alive and does not have you saying the same thing in the same way as everyone else does, so that you can be put on a box and stuck on a shelf. So I want to give you some examples of brands, vibrant brands, and how they work in practice. And it can turn something that you're doing, something that's seemingly ordinary, into something that's actually quite fascinating and interesting. And when I show you these brands, I want you to pay attention to how you feel, not what you think or how you rationalize it. Literally, what is going through your body when I am, how's your body reacting when I show you these videos? And kind of, that's the secret, to turn some people on and turn some people off, so that when people are looking at your stuff, they're not like, oh, blah, another post, another video. They actually stop and they take notice and they remember you. So I want to show you an example. This is Leela Cosgrove. She's an Australian, and she has a business called Strategic Anarchy. She's actually a business consultant, so she probably does something similar to what I do. And she's hugely successful, like whatever, 8-9 figure.
I think, Tilo, we might have time for one video. And then there's just an important question from Nick asking, can you please just quickly elaborate a little bit more on the difference between voice and tone?
That's an interesting question on voice and tone. I suppose it's, I don't know that it's hugely different. I think your voice is more like, it's quite similar, actually. It's the way you come across. It's like, are you a revolutionary? Is that your voice? Is that are you kind of brutally honest? Are you pushing the boundaries? How are your messaging? How is your messages consistently structured? What is the tonality of it? So the voice and tone sort of support each other. So generally, and we're doing an exercise later where you identify 3 to 5 characteristics, and there has to be characteristics that could potentially rub somebody the wrong way. So you could be, playful, intuitive, and you could be playful, intuitive, and brutally honest. So that could be sort of your voice and your tone, that you are playful, but you're brutally honest. So it kind of has elements that are not just sort of bland and move into the background. I hope that explains it. So show you so some of her posts that are quite consistent is, only idiots spend money advertising for likes. And another post is, it's not about how much money you have. It's not even about whether I can help, it's about whether you're a good fit. And if you're not, I don't care how much money you have or how it could help you, I'm going to reject you. I choose my clients and I'm super picky. So her tone is aggressive and abrasive, but it stands out. So I just want to quickly show you videos, and I want you to really be aware of whether you're attracted, you feel repelled, or you're neutral. So I'm going to show you this video.
Tilo, is it possible just to have a look at one of them, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Okay, so maybe let me not
Thanks.
show you either. Let me show you another one because I've already sort of showed you the others. One, can you all see? I mean, is the screen still showing?
Yeah, we're seeing your screen presentation.
Okay, cool. So let me show you the Dollar Shave Club.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is
Sorry, just checking that you can hear and see the video.
100%.
Okay, cool.
DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
Cool. Sorry, just struggling to. Okay, is the screen fine, Diesel?
Yes, we're seeing your presentation again.
Okay. Awesome. Not sure why these tabs are showing, but that's cool. So as you can see from the Dollar Shave Club, like, you know, this company took a stand in their video. And, you know, they're quite bold and they're uprooting industries that have been here for hundreds of years. And, you know, sometimes you feel like a small business owner or an underdog or solopreneur, and you want to compete in an established industry. Well, how do you do it? You turn up the dial on your self-expression. You tune into what really makes you unique and different, and you dare to be that and do it in your marketing every single day. And it's quite different seeing an ad like that versus seeing a Gillette sort of razor, which basically is like with now with flexible technology, which again, remember we talked about the price features commodity market. So they've got a new feature, they've got a new blade, wow. But I mean, there's quite a different feel to this versus the tonality of the Dollar Shave Club. So, you know, it's the whole thing is like, do not be the 2D paper version of yourself that walks up to people and tells them like, you know, I sell washing powder to moms, and then, you know, the life drains out of people's eyes and they become all deadpan expression. And it's really about, you know, reinfusing your message and your brand with the full range of your characteristics. So I think like I was talking about it before, is that we're going to go to our workbook now. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, here, it's right in front of me, my workbook. And we're going to actually try and pinpoint, obviously, like I do this with my clients, and I mean, we've got like 5 minutes here. So, you know, not expecting like any kind of rocket science here, but really just to what comes up for you when you think of your brand voice. And the way to get to it is to think of instances in your life where you felt alive. How did you speak? How did you act? How did you come across? And it's instances where you felt like you were being you, you're really being you. And write down, so that's point 1, so 9.1 on page 7. So 9.2 would be to write down things that made you memorable and unique, or that you think make you memorable and unique. And point 3 is then to, you know, based on 1 and 2, to write down 3 to 5 personality traits and attributes. Cool, I hope that's okay. And that helps. So I know I literally got one more slide and then I'm done. At this point, it would have been amazing for people to share your message with your brand voice, actually on speaker, unmuted, but unfortunately, I don't think we have time for that. Hey, Lisa.
If one or two people would quickly like to just pop on and just share and 10 seconds share or post in the chat again, that would be welcome.
Cool. And I'm not going to, it's not to give any feedback or anything, but it's just to really hear you saying your message in your brand voice. So, the message like, I want to help entrepreneurs be the hero to their tribe. So how would you say your equivalent message in your voice? And, again, maybe those characteristics are aggressive. Maybe it's aggressive. Maybe it's playful. Maybe it's energetic. Maybe it's serious. Maybe
a word
brand.
that comes to mind when I think of myself, and I think there's some people on this call that could testify to that, is fun would definitely describe the difference I bring to what I do. Tanya saying, Tanya's thanking you for the, Craig says, me fun with wine, or is it you, Craig, fun with wine? But Tanya says, fantastic delivery and methods to help us walk through the element of building our brand and voice. Yes, thanks, Tanya, for that. Anybody who would like to share? Craig, I think you want to say something?
Yeah, so I mean, our whole democratizing entrepreneurship in Africa, we want to flip entrepreneurship. We want to stop making it exclusive to the world of startups and funders and corporate, funding and that difficult thing. And by democratize, we mean make it easy, make it accessible, and increase economic inclusion and give people opportunity, increase opportunity. That's why we're here. How does that sound?
That sounds passionate.
That does. It sounds like fiercely passionate. It sounds fierce, actually. It sounds fierce and it sounds passionate and it sounds aggressive and
committed.
Yeah. And I mean, you generally want 3 to 5 characteristics. And I mean, we're a bit under pressure now, but happy to explore that further and I think of the Dollar Shave Club with you, because there's lots of people doing things in entrepreneurship, and it's really about dialing in that self-expression so that you can stand out as like what you are doing that is so different, and how you connect, to that message behind democratizing.
Unfortunately, we need to wrap up, please.
Cool. One more slide, and it's an important one that I really want to leave you with. And I want to talk to you about the original form of marketing, which is the Chatterbox campaign. And it really is that every single time you have the opportunity to inspire someone with your message, take it. If it is the security guard, if it is the person in the grocery line, although I know it's COVID and not many people are out there, but the point is, tell your message to as many people as possible, because you never know, you never know who they are, and it's just an opportunity to inspire someone with what you do and your message, and that person could become your customer or your raving fan. And really, it's about talking about it with a level of inspiration and excitement, because you have the potential to transform and inspire people with your message and what you do and how you're impacting the world. Cool. So Chatterbox, everyone. My challenge to you is to practice your message and go out there and tell the world what you do. Cool. That's it from me.
Oh, thank you so much, Tilo. And, there's so much depth that we still can go into what Tilo has shared with us. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So this was really looking at the fundamentals of how you can start creating your unique message and your brand voice. Are there any questions? I'm going to allow 2 minutes. Unfortunately, we do not have a lot more time. And then Craig will do a quick summary. Any questions in the chat, or if you would like to jump in, you're more than welcome to. I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not hearing anybody. I'm not reading anything in the chat.
Hopefully you guys are so deep in thoughts about your message and your voice.
Yeah, there's from Shireen. Where can she learn, follow, connect more? We'll share Tilo's contact details, and also I was going to share at the end that we are going to offer a in-depth skills program with Tilo on this, and we are looking at launching that around about January 2021 latest. Hopefully I can strong arm Tilo into sooner. But definitely lots more to come, and we will share all the contact details. Craig, I think if you can briefly summarize for us, if you don't mind.
I don't know about briefly, but let me give it a bash. So awesome, Tilo, thank you so much, and awesome engagement from all of you. So you are your brand. So start a fire and compete on your terms and create unique value. If you haven't read Peter Thiel's Monopoly of One, it really helps you think about unique value. You know, don't compete on other people's, and the other book is The End of Competitive Advantage from Rita McGrath. Don't compete on other people's terms. Find your voice, find your values, express your individual personality so that you have a niche that demonstrates your specialization, is hyper-focused and specific, so that you can engage your audience, get validation from them. Great point made by Shireen. Listen to the voice of the customer. So, this must be different. It must be compelling and attractive, and your story matters. So you would have seen in many of our past sessions, we tell stories around what we're doing and why we're doing it. Your story really matters. Those values, that compassion that comes through, and the practices, and Tilo's story about the green energy company made me think of abundance. If you haven't explored abundance and abundance thinking, you really should, because it's just flipping again in terms of this whole notion of flipping entrepreneurship. It's flipping the thinking around the art of the possible. So your tribe then is who you serve, attract, and have a massive transformative purpose. And I thought I would just quickly put up what an MTP is. And I'm putting it here mostly so that it's there when we share the slides. But if you haven't come across a massive transformative purpose, I would suggest that it is pretty fundamental or essential to attracting a tribe, because it's emotional, it's credible. It's not just about a mission statement, and it's the guide rails for your organization and to scale. So it really provides for guide rails with purpose for transformation. So explore that, and probably even better read Salim Ismail's Exponential Transformations. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I always have a few copies lying around when I go to meetings with people that I want to inspire. I hand them one. So if you want coffee, give me a shout. Value is your promise of a unique outcome. Be different, attract believers in your purpose. That's part of having that massive transformative purpose, is to attract those believers. Pull messaging attracts rather than categorizes and puts you in a box. If you haven't read Pitch Anything from, I can't think of his name now, he talks about how the more you sort of push when you sell, the more you push people away, the more you pull away. And one of his mantras is always be leaving, so that you attract rather than push people away. Brand increases meaning and value, increase self-expression. Voice is what you say, and tone is how you say it. That came from Charlene. Great, thank you, Charlene. And then I absolutely loved the Dollar Shave emotion, make hay, the party is on. It's extremely different. I mean, it inspired me to, tell you about passionately flipping entrepreneurship to increase entrepreneurial opportunity and financial inclusion. And I think that's me. Thank you very much.